welcome back to my channel. Today I have to re-record this video. I actually have to re-record a couple because I did not realize my mic was not on until, I went to edit it and post it on YouTube. So here we are. So I have been doing a kind of little project for myself and also project kind of for you guys, specifically for people who are new to coding or beginners or never coded before, or maybe are just getting into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I have been doing my own elements for a EV fleet diagnostic and analysis dashboard, kind of for fun. This started off as kind of like a project for an Apple Watch to turn on and off my EV charger, and it has now cycled into trying to teach people how to get elements like this for their front end. I will say, full disclosure, this is just the front end. We can go through a back end situation, but for a lot of this, a lot of like EV and EVSE software would require really complex API calls. And there are some companies that are better than others when it to. Let's go into the breakdown of this code. The next couple of videos, by the way, are going to be just breakdowns because I've already coded these. So we're just going to kind of go through the elements. So for this specific chart, I wanted it to be compact because it's going to be going under my other elements that I have, specifically with each car. So you can make this bigger or smaller, and you would be doing that here with the CSS, but this is to show the number of hours a car sat on an EV charger, essentially. So, for example, I didn't want it to just be, it's 5 hours. I wanted to show Tuesday, 5 hours. So when you hovered over it, you'd be able to get that information instead of be going back and forth because, charts are fun, but for a lot of people, they can also be a pain in the butt. So let's talk about the styling of this. And as per usual, I do my background with a linear gradient. You do not have to do this. You can do your own background. I just did it for myself. This text, I'm not actually going to keep here. So I have it black for right now. On Life 12, you can see that I have this, but I also have a name for this. This is going to be for the Model X charger. And you'll see in one of my next videos that I actually have 3 cards that on hover, they get bigger and they show when they're charging. And the Model X is one of them. So we kind of go into this background situation. We have a flex-centered background. Font family is Poppins. If you're using codepen.io, which I definitely recommend if you're a beginner, it's instant visualization that you don't have to set up like you would on vscode. And you can also really take it anywhere. You don't have to have a specific kind of computer, or not a specific kind of computer, but you don't have to download it to your computer. So if you're someone who's using a public computer, CodePen is going to be your friend. And these can all be cloned on CodePen. They can also be cloned from the source code I have on GitHub. So breaking it down, we have the container, which is flex. It's column, align, center. That's literally exactly what you see here. For the header, this is H1. H1 is just how I titled this. In my actual full dashboard, I actually won't be having this, so I don't really care about the color right now. Usually I would do white if it's going to be on one of my gradient backgrounds, but black is fine for now. This is for the chart container, so this would be the element that we're referencing here. The color is white, FFF. The padding is 2 rem. Border radius is 10 pixels, and we have a box shadow. It's very, very light. I use box shadows to kind of make an element look a little bit more complex. Not necessarily complex, but something that a little bit more elevated than your regular quote-unquote 2D situation. So that this is the basics of everything that you see here. So for this, the HTML, I did English only because I realize that there are some people that when I just do HTML and then head and everything else, this is not standard per se, but this is just something while people are watching these videos. If this is not your language that you want here, this is maybe the start of changing that. So we have, where am I from here? Okay. So we have our meta information. We have our title, which you don't see. We have our style sheet, which references the Poppins font you see here. We then go to the reference, again, to the style sheet. When you're doing these and you're not doing these on VS Code, or I'm sorry, on CodePen, you're doing this on like something like VS Code, you would save whatever that name for that CSS file that would be called for that information. So for me, I usually just do style CSS or like script JS. That's my go-to default, whatever. So that's what I name these. But if you decide to name it like styler, you would add an R to call that file. Otherwise, it's not going to mesh. So for this container, we have my header, we have the chart container and the ID, the my chart. We are also using a npm like chart service, and then we are calling the script.js, which is this. Again, like I said, same rules apply. This is calling a specific script, and that is this JavaScript stuff. So this is what makes the chart that we imported reactive, more or less. So jumping over here, we are going to be getting the document by the element ID, and we've called that my chart. You again can change this. You just have to make sure it's changed across all of your oh my gosh, files. Good grief. And this is when we're going to show the data. So for this is what we see down here on this axis. We see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can change this text. It doesn't have to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You could do MT, WT, H, F, S, SU, or whatever abbreviations. For this, I had labeled hours. This is what I had for the data. This would just be to show you, exactly what these are. You could do this so it's dynamic. This is just fixed right now. The background color, color, and border width. Then we have the scales. So we do this with the y-axis. We begin at 0. Step size is 1, so we're going up by 1. So 1, 2, 3. Then we have the scale label true, which is for hours. You can see here we have the font size is 10. The font color is this darker gray. We do pop-ins, and font style is 500. So for the x-axis, we have the scale label as is displayed. So we can choose to say false, and then it wouldn't be displayed. And we could add some conditional value that like on hover or something that it shows up. So you would start here. This is your label for days. Font size 10, font color that same gray, font style 500. Again, a reference to this up here. Then the font is Poppins. So then the my chart is the new chart. The type is a line chart. Our data is from our data over here. And our options is for our options. So this was the super quick, not really super quick walkthrough of this code. I'm sorry I'm not doing a better job as explaining this. This is a Sunday morning and I'm exhausted. But if you want, you guys can go to my CodePen. I'm going to link it below. You can go to my GitHub. This is open source, free to use, free to modify, do what you want with it. If you should do something cool with it, totally let me know. Shoot me a message, post it on socials, so I can see what you guys are doing, because I think this is kind of fun. This is kind of fun for me because it takes me like 45 minutes and it breaks me out of my typical funk that I have to do, or like stuff especially if I'm stuck with stuff with work. This is kind of what I do for fun. So I'm hoping that you guys enjoy this the same way I do. You maybe learned something, maybe you didn't. If you're like, Anna, you're really not being clear, I can go ahead and do a secondary video where I actually type this out for you. Or I could just voice over the one I already have of me making all of these. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.